Hey guys, y'all, I was gonna hit you with my whole figure of photography. So let me tell you some backstory. Well, first of all, what are we doing here? So a part of what I'm doing is I don't know what I'm doing. We know this. Okay, so here's what's actually happening. I have tried to keep figure photography, which is my business, away from Brittany Unfolding. Like to the point of I came up with a name that did not have Figaro in it because I did not want it to be associated with Figaro photography. Well, after doing all of this separation, like to the point of website for Brittany Unfolding, holding that so that it would have nothing to do with Figaro, my life is photography. Like it's what I do. That's my trade. You're 14 for me if you're new here. And so what I thought I was going to be able to do was to keep Figaro photography over here and to keep Brittany Unfolding over here. And that did not work. They merged. And so as much as I tried to not wear a Figaro photography shirt, y'all, that was my life. And so what ended up happening was I was wearing Figaro photography shirts in it. So it's like, you're going to find out that this is my business. This is what I do. But the flip side of all of this is the part that I was trying to keep separate for y'all. I'm like, you're keeping this separate, but yet you're getting questions about photography as well. So as we break this next part down, I do not feel, I should change my wording. I tend to not want to give advice on anything because I didn't go to school for this. This is something that I picked up by trade and just learned my way up. And so I want to put that disclaimer out here. This is just what I have learned in my process. And so I'm not saying that any of this will work for you. I'm telling you my process, which is why I really want to call this mini series Behind the Lens Through My Eyes. Key emphasis on my. So what I typically take photos of now, I declare myself now because I have retired out of weddings. I retired out of weddings last year. This was 14 years in doing weddings. Weddings started. I should give y'all my photography backstory one day, but that's not on this one. I was doing weddings for the last 14 years. This last year, I ended up doing my last wedding, and now I am strictly in studio and family lifestyle portrait photographer. So I love doing children's. I love doing children, family, and like lifestyle, pretty much. I think lifestyle does cover it all. I have looked it up before, and it's like, no, that covers lifestyle. And so that's what I love to do. I do some events. I'm also trying to get away from that. Like I said, I've fallen back in love with studio work. I've had a studio for the last 11 years. Yes. With the desire to have my dream studio one day. I have outgrown my space, but I am learning to make the most of my space. So if you go back to some of my previous blogs, you'll see me reorganizing for the sake of making the space that I have work. I have 3 different spaces in my studio. Front room is where we take the photos. The middle room is storage and changing room. And then the back room is my office and more storage. So that's what I'm currently working with. I have the ultimate desire and dream to have the open floor plan with the moving columns on wheels so that I can just have backdrops along the line and we can move. I can have multiple sets for our holidays, all of the things, and with the intention and the goal to be able to rent out my space to other photographers who just need like studio space. And so that's the goal, plus lots of storage. If you go back 2 vlogs ago, you'll see more space savers being built so that we can optimize our space. So I'm working with what I currently have. I am currently using a Nikon Z6 II. Yes, I'm using a Nikon Z6 II. My go-to lens if I am outside is 85 millimeter. It's butter. Favorite lens right now. Most of my in-studio sessions, I am using a 50 millimeter lens, and that's because of the limited space that I have in studio. So if I'm doing a portrait, I'm using that. That's my go-to, or 35, either one. I am a fixed lens girl. I will do other lenses, but those are my go-to. I love me a good prime lens. So those are my go-tos. I picked up a wide angle lens for Christmas last year. And it was perfect because this was my first time ever using two backdrops. So making a corner to do a backdrop and then going wide. And so I picked it up last year, fell in love with it. And so that is what I'm using when I have a larger family in studio. So it allows me not to be at the back wall and still get my images. And as long as I keep them away from the edges, I don't have distortion. So those are the things that I am currently using. I'm a Godox girl when it comes to lights. Yeah, I have a 360 softbox in studio. If I'm on the field, if I'm out on location, I have, don't ask me because I don't remember right now. But I have soft boxes that I'll take with me to go on my Godox 8200s. I should have got all these numbers for y'all first. And so yeah, that's my basic thing. I've always been a Nikon girl. With this behind the lens through my eyes series, I am getting the boldness and the courage to ask my clients if I can record their session. And so with it, I wanted to give y'all some of that behind the scenes content while dropping in a couple of the images and just talking about the session. This first one that I'm doing is a kid session, and because it was a lot of in and out with parents fixing and adjusting everything, it might not have been my ideal one to start with, but we have to start somewhere, and I no longer will have the excuse of, oh, we'll do this another day. Here we are. So I'm just starting. So that's where we're starting. So this one is choppier than the others that I have. And it's okay because it's the first one. So I have chopped down 3 minutes worth of content. I am then going to throw in the final image in so that you can see that, and then we'll just keep going. I am currently using the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 as my recording camera. I also have the Insta 360 Go. What I absolutely love about this is that I can put it on me. Now, what I have not mastered is how much I move. So I'm typically up and down girl. I'm going in to fix my client. Well, with that, y'all are going with me. And so I haven't figured all of that out yet. Now, we will get there. I just don't know what is that sweet spot because I absolutely loved wearing it, because when I wore it, even more so, I enjoyed that when we were outside because you're getting the perspective from my POV. And you're also seeing the camera because I have camera here. You're seeing image and then you're seeing what I see. So it was good for that. But I do a whole lot of going in and interacting with my client. And so that's the part that I did not like when I went back to that. So I'm trying to find my sweet spot when it comes to recording and all of that good jazz. So bear with me is what I'm going to say, because I'm just starting and I don't know all of the sweet spots. Also, when I have my Osmo Pocket 3, it is typically to my right. So I'm doing movement this way. You will also see my client looking at a screen if we're in studio. I project my images to a screen so that they can see it, with the goal and the intention of, not for my youngers, but for my adults, is more so that you can see yourself, fix the things that you don't like in real time. I am not a heavy Photoshop photographer. I'm not going to airbrush you down. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm more of a realistic photographer though. And so because of that, I do want you to fix those little things. Plus, doing this for this long, there is a reel going around, and they were like, everything that somebody asked for, they were like, oh, here's iron, here's this. Like, that is what I have become. For me, my goal is to turn around your images as quickly as possible. But if I'm trying to slide down this one piece of hair where I have some got to be around, I'm going to fix it in real time, so that's one less thing that we have to do. Yes, I know everything can be photoshopped, but that is also additional time, and time is money. And so breaking all of that down, I have turned into I have it, bobby pins, I have it. And so I tried to make sure that I have the things that I hear most people mention. And so when somebody says something that I don't have, it's like added to the list because somebody else is going to need it. And so that's where I have built this up to be over these years. So I did a whole lot of talking, wasn't planning on doing all of that, but that's the start of the behind the lens. Also, behind the lens is something that I do on Instagram. Well, I did it on Instagram. I haven't done it in a while, of just giving them like a 60-second view of behind the scenes. And so I thought this was cool to bring it to YouTube and to do the through my eyes. Nope. Yeah. through my eyes. And so it's just me talking through a session. So let's get into it. Okay, so let me give y'all the backstory about this session. So most of my backdrops come from Baby Dream backdrops. I'm not sure how long ago I found and fell in love with them. Maybe 10 years ago now, because I know we were laughing at backdrops, y'all. I used to get Amazon backdrops. Y'all, the wrinkles would never come out. Half of them I didn't even try, but that's what we're talking about. And so, yes, it is a cost invested in backdrops, but it's worth it. I'll say that. For me, it's worth it. That's where I get the majority of my backdrops from. They did not have a monster truck backdrop that I liked. And so me and my client were talking about the backdrop. She sent me some stuff from Etsy. I ordered the backdrop, y'all. The store on Etsy closed. Now, I'm ordering multiple things and multiple times. I'm thinking that I already have the backdrop. So I go to the studio, opening boxes, and it is not the backdrop. Y'all, I panicked. So this is day before the session. And it's like, note to self, do not ever do that. Don't do it. So then I'm letting my client know, like, hey, this is not what we have. So I am typically doing banners for my other clients. And so I was like, I can order this, because what I needed was a local person to do me a 8-foot by 6-foot banner. That was the issue, because typically local, you can only go up to like 3 feet, and I needed 8 or 6 either way. And so it's like, okay. And so I knew that my printer is in Texas, and I was like, I could get it next day. So that's what we did. And the tough part of these hard lessons is that you end up paying more, which is what happened. No profit was made in it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm probably maybe $50 in the hole for this session, but hard lessons. This is the other side of business. Check your stuff. Make sure that you are up and on your things that you need for sessions. And because I have multiple sessions going at multiple times, it's like, no, you get your list, verify that you have this, make sure that it all comes together. And so with this being the first time I've ever done this backdrop, all of those things matter. Like if you ask me for a Sesame Street backdrop, I have everything that I need for it now. Don't have to purchase anything. I can do that one tomorrow. With things like this, you book further out. So that's how that goes. And so y'all, I cried over this session because I've done Christmas pictures for them, but when it's a newer client, you just want them to be happy. And so it was a tough one for me. I carried the weight of it. I was frustrated. I knew she was frustrated, and it's to be expected. And so we were able to reschedule our session for Saturday. That went off with a hitch, without a hitch. And so we were able to do it. And so this is that session. Cutest little guy ever, TJ. He's turning 3. Monster Jam is his jam. Y'all, I have no knowledge of Monster Jam, and so I went into YouTube to play some Monster Jam music, and I did not realize that it was heavy metal. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we could have went with something else. But nobody said anything about music, so I didn't say anything either. So let's get into the session. So meet TJ, the Monster Jam loving kiddo who loves to peek at the TV to see himself. I love this shot that we started on the floor for the sake of he had his trucks around him. He loved to hold his trucks and just roll them. And so that's what we did. Here he's counting with me as I'm like 1, 2, 3. And then we get him to hold up the number 3. Look at these blinks. So cute. So cute. I'm telling you, he loved looking at himself on the screen. So I love this little shot. As we get older, we love adding in the numbers. I wanted to get different perspectives. I try to do a floor, medium, and standing shot when it comes to all sessions. It doesn't always work, because if you in an outfit that does not work for the floor, I'm not taking you to the floor. We're getting more up close and those shots. Another thing is for kid sessions where backdrop matters, I am trying to do wider shots. It's not always ideal for me because I love me a good perspective shot. we decided to give him the number 3 to hold on to. And so it was placing, holding, and then he had fun beating up the balloon. Thank God it didn't bust because we studied it for a couple more pictures and we made it through the whole session and he was able to go home with it. But he was having so much fun with the balloon. So we had the idea to put him inside of the, these are actually floaties. Got off Amazon. We put him inside and then we were like, will it look weird if we sit him in it? And it ended up being a really, really cute shot. I love the way this one came out. And see, this is one of those moments where I enjoyed the tighter shot and it looked like the trucks were like more realistic, but I missed all of the other decorations and those things matter when it comes to a background. And sometimes backgrounds can be too busy when it goes to like my younger kids. And so I try to find a balance when it comes to those. He's adorable. Adorable. So he wanted to jump over all of his trucks. Love this shot. This is a moment where I wish that I could have brought that angle down, but in the moment, my whole goal is not to fix the camera, it's to get the picture. And so I got on the floor with him. He was jumping trucks with me. So y'all see just the top of his head, but I love the shot that I have of this one. I need to throw that in right there. I love him checking himself out. And so he did a couple more jumps with his truck. Boom. Had to put it back in line because that's not the one he wanted to jump with. Y'all, I wish I remember the names of these trucks. I didn't know that every truck had a name, but it does. And so he's lining up his trucks and we're getting ready to go for a jump. No, we're not. Yes, we are. A jump is coming. Oh, he wanted the one that I had. And then we ended up needing to get a shot of the entire outfit. That's another thing that I try to pay attention to. When you know that a certain item matters to people, you make that of importance. And so it was making sure that he had a full outfit shot and a good shot of his shirt. Shirt was absolutely adorable, custom made shirt. And so that is a session with TJ. Not sure how all of this is going to flow and go, but I did it. And so thank you for watching, and we will drop another episode of Behind the Scenes Through My Eyes.